Today, on the floor of Parliament, you all would have heard the Honorable Minority Leader, the Honorable Afenyo Makin, deliver a statement on free speech in Ghana. Free speech has become a major issue in our country, where citizens and political activists are being persecuted through the criminal justice system of our country as a result of their resorting to the right of free speech, pursuant to Article 21 of our national constitution. As you heard, the Minority Leader laid out the issues, the contemporary issues relating to free speech generally in Ghana and the infringement on the fundamental human rights of citizens who are expressing themselves and engaging in speech pursuant to Article 21 of our national constitution. It is important for us to point out and do so clearly and forcefully that under Ghanaian law and under laws of comparable democratic countries across the world, when people exercise free speech and they even injure the reputation of public officers, the highest public officers of our country, their remedy lies in civil law. Their remedy lies in a civil court. Public officers are not to deploy the apparatus of the criminal justice system to persecute citizens and activists who exercise free speech pursuant to the dictates of our national constitution. And that is exactly what the minority is speaking against. We've come too far from President Kufuor's time in 2001 when the criminal libel law was repealed, and through many governments where the frontiers of free speech have been broadened to a point where it is becoming abundantly evident that when citizens exercise their fundamental right of free speech, the state deploys the apparatus of the criminal justice system to go after them. And that is what we are vehemently opposed to and against. And that is what we put before the floor of Parliament today. We were very shocked when, in a response of the majority, for example, through the leader of the House, the Honorable Majority Leader, the Honorable Mahama Yarga, they made the claim that the gentleman from Swedro who said Dumso is back, simply said Dumso is back, and who was arrested because, in his words, he has stolen the intellectual property of somebody. Be that as it may, and assuming without admitting that that was the case, is a remedy through the criminal justice system or the civil law system of our country. We take the view that it's a clear abuse of the rights, fundamental rights of that citizen. Further, we hold the view that when you establish a democracy which respects the rule of law and respects the rights of citizens, you do so for all the citizens of our country, regardless of where they find themselves in the political equation of our country. Many a times when people are in government, they find these kinds of conduct conducive because they are in government. And when they are in opposition, they become very loud. We think that a time has come in our country where we all should call a spade and be honest and blunt in condemning this kind of conduct in our country, and call on the government to stop the persecution of citizens who exercise their right of free speech. I thank you very much. And indeed, I see that the Minister of Communication is here to lend his support to the statement delivered by the Minority Leader. And given that he's the Minister for Communication who has a role in the exercise of free speech, and a man who exercised a lot of free speech when he was on the other side of the equation, and therefore he's here to support what we are telling you. And I hope that after I've spoken and exercised my right of free speech, I will not find myself on the wrong side of the law.
I can assure my brother that he has nothing to fear. we have a country to protect, and we'll build our country together. Free speech will be protected under this government and every other government. But we should also be responsible in our utterances. That's all we're asking for. We have one country, one people. And so be rest assured, your freedom of speech is guaranteed.
We certainly don't support irresponsible speech. The minority do not support irresponsible speech. But we insist that when people cross the line and they engage in irresponsible speech and they injure the reputation of all manner of persons, the remedy is through the civil courts and not through the criminal justice system and not through onerous bail conditions, which then turns into some form of persecution. I'm happy for the assurance that the minister is giving.